This is an amphibious assault by the United States Marines against an enemy beach. In their long and colorful history, the Marines have never failed to take their objective. Because of their long training and ability in amphibious warfare, the Marines have been assigned this duty by the Congress as their major mission. The development of amphibious assault has been a field particularly suited to the Marines. Against tremendous odds, with the enemy ready and waiting, how have the Marines been able to succeed? Marines were first recruited at Tun Tavern in Philadelphia, November 1775. In March 1776, their first amphibious landing was carried out in the Bahamas at New Providence, where they captured badly needed military stores. During our war with the Barbary pirates from 1801 to 1805, the Marines again conducted assaults upon the beach. Their amphibious landing at Derna distracted the defenders of that walled city and permitted another force of Marines under Lieutenant O'Bannon to assault and gain the walls to capture the city. The Seminole Indian Wars found the Marines ashore in Florida swamps. In the war with Spain at the turn of the century, Marines smashed ashore in the Caribbean to seize Guantanamo, which has been held as a great naval base ever since. In 1902, the Marines began their annual amphibious exercises on Culebra Island. Following World War I, in which the Marines disembarked at ports in Europe, the progress of the amphibious attack concept was slow. However, in 1927, a directive of the Joint Board of the Army and Navy stated, Marines, because of their constant association with naval units, will be given special training in the conduct of landing operations. By 1929, the amphibious operation of the Marines was officially termed Expeditionary Force by the Navy and was established to seize and occupy overseas bases for fleet operations in time of war. In the joint Army-Navy exercises of 1931-32, the Marines tried out new landing equipment in their search for faster ways to reach the beach. The term Fleet Marine Force became the official designation in 1933, and in 1934, the tentative landing operations manual was accepted. World War II was to find it basically correct in its concept. Various types of landing equipment were experimented with, but by 1937, it was clear that makeshift equipment was not the answer. And exposure to enemy fire by coming ashore in open boats was a problem that required solving. Transport operations in amphibious landings were bringing the men and materiel in compact units to offshore positions. Annual exercises were being held to test the improved methods of operation. One of the prime problems in amphibious assault lay in getting the forces from ship to beach with the least amount of exposure to enemy fire. Open landing craft failed to provide the protection necessary. A partial solution existed in the invention of bow ramp landing craft of shallow draft that could drive up onto the beaches. The bow ramp also offered a means of getting tanks ashore in shallow water or through heavy surf. While experiments were being conducted on amphibious beach assault methods, the air arm of the Marine Corps was developing its flight ability. Pilots and ground crews were improving their teamwork in the plan to eventually coordinate air and ground forces during assault. Marine planes were experimenting with operations from Navy carriers by 1935 for low-altitude strafing and bombing runs on the beach. The Marine Air Arm was dropping bombs with increasing accuracy on ground targets. The light planes came into use for observation of enemy positions and directing of gunfire. As new types of planes were developed, the Marine flyers adapted their new speeds and maneuverability to problems of close air support, a concept of ground attack under low-cover air support that has belonged particularly to the Marines. One of the major problems of amphibious attack operations lay in unloading ammunition and supplies for the beach. Top priority materiel required last-minute loading so that it might be unloaded first at the beach. The problems of combat unit loading of ships were studied for a number of years, and by 1940, plans had been perfected to ensure the proper loading and unloading techniques to place ammunition, medical supplies, transportation, food, and other supplies ashore first. Resupply at the beachhead might prove to be the determining factor in holding the beach or extending our forces inland. Cargo and transport ships were in a very vulnerable position offshore and had to be unloaded swiftly. Cargo could complicate all shore operations if it were not moved in along established priority. The pre-planning of combat unit loading was carefully developed by the Marines to anticipate such requirements. By the wartime year of 1942, the Marine Corps concept of amphibious operations had been firmly established as a joint planning operation with the other services. Amphibious attack required 6 component parts, all of them carefully integrated. First, a joint services planning conference with command relations and joint agreement. Second, naval gunfire support softens the beach area prior to the landing operation. Third, aerial support for ground troops and aerial bombing is provided, saturating the areas on and beyond the beach. Fourth, ship-to-shore movement of the Marines. The actual amphibious assault takes place as a carefully coordinated attack. Fifth, securing the beachhead. And sixth, supply when it is needed. Ammunition and supplies are moved to the beach in their established priority, along with medical stores.